This is another edition of the ETBU Sports Net. This is our summer edition of our sports coverage, folks. Monty Robinson here once again as we are in the midst of our annual, summer seasonal countdown, our top 10 countdown. We're looking at the best individual plays of the season so far, and we have landed at number 7, and number 7 is Isaiah Simien and his hat trick. That's 3 goals scored for you guys who are new to soccer and or hockey, that is also. That's 3 goals scored against the rival Letourneau University at home in the 4-0 victory over the ASC opponent. So Isaiah, very exciting. Obviously, you came in and had a big impact on your team. But first, before we get into all that, just kind of talk about, the off season so far. I feel like it's been a while since you guys have been out there on the field. But how's the off season been treating you so far as we get into it?
It's been treating me good. I mean, all this extra time, I just been putting in more work on the field, off the field, like in the gym, or just being around others. Like, I stay at school, so I'm working construction, and it's just fun just being still on campus, but still like around some of the people I know. So yeah, just spending time with others is pretty good. Having a little bit of longer break, but yeah.
Absolutely, and just gotta talk to us about, if you can remember, take us back to that game. Obviously it was a big game right before the playoffs. You guys are kind of battling for a decent spot in the standings. And then you had the matchup with Letourneau. Coming into that game, did you have a feeling that it was going to be a special night for you, or did you just kind of approach the game the same way you do any other match?
Well, like, I didn't know it was our rival until a couple of weeks before the game. And then that morning when I woke up, like, just being around all the other soccer players, everyone was locked in. So I knew, like, this game it's going to be a game. So I just zoned in from the start. I was in class, got my classwork done. Once I was done, it was just lock in. And I was locked in, and I just had a feeling. It was like, something's going to happen tonight. Something good is going to happen tonight. And, I mean, it just happened to roll that way. So, yeah, it was just amazing feeling, though, the whole game day. It was amazing feeling. But, yeah.
Did your preparation in practice kind of feel like, help you to kind of get ready for that type of game? Was there something different in practice that also kind of helped you be so successful in that matchup with Letourneau as well?
Oh yeah, everyone was just that whole week preparing for that game was just locked in. Everything was just nice, crisp. Like, we were hitting everything. So it just all week we just all felt good. We felt in form, and it was just we were all just clicking as a team, and it just felt good. We were just there all at the same wavelength. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, kind of I kind of want to get this type of aspect from you in the sense of the hot weather versus cold weather. Now, for me, I always felt like it was better to play, even though it might be a little bit hot outside. But in that game in particular, I think that was one of the coldest games temperature-wise that you guys played all year. How are you able to kind of have your body kind of adjust to that aspect? Does it make it harder for you playing when it's colder, or vice versa? What do you kind of say about that?
Well, I try to keep my body as warm as possible. They give us warm-ups and, like, jackets and like that, so I always keep it. I'm always on. Like, I make sure to keep my legs warm, just don't stop moving. And then when you hit the field, it's a little cold because that one moment before the whistle blows, we're all just standing. But other than that, I'm always moving, and it's just, like, that cold. The only way I feel it is on my hands, but that's it. Like, I was just locked in, and I didn't feel nothing. I was just ready to go.
Absolutely. And one of the first goals that you scored, I believe, or maybe I think it was the second. It was actually a header, I believe, off of an assist from Silas Ngannou. So plays like that, number one, how often are you practicing that? And number two, in the course of the game, when Silas Ngannou kind of set you up, did you have a feeling that this one is going in? Because it was kind of a tough play to make, but it looked great going in through the goal. So what was kind of the thought process behind that?
Well, in practice, we always work on clearing headers or like just crossing and finishing. And so, as soon as I seen him cut out wide and just wind up, I was hauling to get in there. So as soon as he hit it, I threw everything. I dove into it and just made sure it got there. And I wasn't gonna let anyone else win that ball. So I had just put up my body on the line for it, and it paid off. So yeah.
Absolutely. And you kind of have been doing that all year, just looking at the overall stats for you, 9 goals scored in your first year, to go along with 3 total assists as well, 21 points on the year so far. You guys were able to advance to the ASC playoffs and unfortunately ran up against the defending champions in UMHB. But with all that being said, kind of talk about, can you summarize, what you thought of your first year? What things kind of took you by surprise? What things, kind of helped you to improve your game as the year went on? What was your first year like here with ETBU?
It was great. I mean, right as I got here, I mean, I got really close with a lot of the guys, and it was an amazing feeling. It was a brotherhood. Like it felt good, like just going everywhere, knowing like everyone was close. It felt good. And then just it being my first year, I felt I did pretty good. I wish I would have picked up a little bit sooner at the beginning of the season, like preseason wise, and picked up with the pace. But that was one thing that was a lot different for me, was how strong and how like fast these guys were, and I had to readjust. And when I did, it was about mid-season, and finally caught my groove. But yeah, it was pretty fun as my first year. It was really fun.
Absolutely. And just kind of talk to me about, with that Letourneau game being obviously your best scoring game with 3 goals scored, was that the most fun game you were part of? Or one of the games that I kind of brings me to my mind is you also had a big game against UMHB. Now, where does that game rank? Do you have the Letourneau game kind of ranked a little bit higher, or is the UMHB game kind of up there as well?
Well, I don't know, because both of the teams we hadn't beaten in quite a while, so that's a big plus on both of them. But a game-winning goal, that's pretty sweet, man. Especially since it was like the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game, it was pretty sweet. So I had to put the UMHB one up there above Letourneau. But 3 goals, don't get me wrong, is amazing. That's very rare, but it's amazing. But it's just like that one goal that make it like the extra mile that we pushed ourselves to get that goal was amazing. So yeah, I'll take that UMHB game.
Absolutely. And looking back on the season, was there something in your game preparation wise that you kind of want to get better or stronger at here in the offseason? What's the one thing that you're or a couple of things that you're kind of focusing on here before the season starts up again?
Flexibility, like just stretching a lot more, and just like always like staying loose. I kind of caught myself being lazy in the stretches, and it kind of caught up to me and stuff. But I got to stretch more, and then just work on quickness a little bit, get a little bit more faster, get a little bit more stronger. And I mean, that will never hurt. So that as well. And finishing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And before we let you go here, other than, you talked about the UMHB game, you talked about Letourneau, was there a specific moment with your team that really kind of stood out to you overall throughout the year, whether, with your teammates, a certain road trip? Is there anything that kind of stood out to you?
Well, the preseason game, Shriner, when we won in overtime, that was pretty sweet. So I have to throw that one out there. That one was pretty good, especially since that was probably the closest game that was to home for me, because I'm from San Antonio. So that game was, I knew a lot of the players on the team, so that game was pretty sweet to win. So yeah.
Absolutely. But thanks once again for joining us, Isaiah. Definitely keep up the good work. We will be watching and keeping up to date with everything happening with the men's soccer program. And you can follow all things ETBU sports related at goetbtigers.com, or follow us on social media at goetbtigers. Once again, Mark T. Robinson with Isaiah Simien. We will be bringing you constant updates on our top 10 as we go down the list. Number 6 is up next. We'll show you who it is in the future. So once again, just stay tuned, and thanks for tuning in to ETBU Sports.